Well, hello and welcome to ACTRA Spotlight. I'm David Gale.
I'm Jean Yoon.
And we are on ACTRA Toronto's star-studded Canadian celebrity podcast.
ACTRA Spotlight.
Awesome. Today we have...
Bryn McAuley.
Oh my goodness, she is so wonderful. She's not that old and she has a tremendous career, and she's the inaugural winner of our Outstanding Performance Voice Female Award. And she's got a lot to say about a lot of things.
Yeah, she. One of the interesting things we'll learn about Bryn shortly is that she started at the age of 4.
At 4, I was just learning to blow my nose, so maybe even not. We got a lot to learn from this lady.
So here we are, Bryn McAuley. Hope you enjoy.
We are here with Bryn McAuley. Hey, Bryn McAuley.
Hello.
It's so nice to see you.
Great to be here.
My goodness. So for people who might not know, you actually won the inaugural Outstanding Performance Female Voice Award from ACTRA Toronto.
I'm very lucky, yes, I
The
did.
inaugural, I don't know if it was luck. I don't think they could just give it to people because of luck. They didn't draw your name out of a hat. So tell me, what did that feel like to you?
It was a major honor. This community and this union means so much to me. And having witnessed the Voice Committee push for a number of years to make that award a reality, I really value that exists now. And it was, like I said, a big honor to receive the inaugural award and to be recognized by my peers. And that's something I think is special about the ACTRA Awards in general, is that it's your peers saying to you, we think you're outstanding. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a. I felt that too when I got an ACTRA award.
I remember.
It's like, it's because you feel like you're looking out into the room, and all of these people that you work with, these friends and colleagues and people who you've watched grow, and you know that they voted for you. Like, that's wild.
It is wild.
Wild.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess I'm the only one at the table without an ACTRA award right now. So
There are two between the three of
yeah,
us.
but you're treating me very well, which I appreciate.
But I'd like to roll things back.
Okay.
Because you, we've never really talked before, but you've been working since you were 4.
That's right.
Which I just find amazing and astounding and interesting, and so obviously you have and you've got this really long career, mostly doing voice work, but not just voice theater, and you're a singer as well, and screen work. So I'd like to roll it back to, like, how did you start at the age of 4?
My grandmother was a writer for children's television, and I went with her to drop off a script at an agency, and I was very precocious and annoying, and I climbed onto...
They give you work for that?
Thank you, yeah, at that age. I mean, a lot of people carry those traits later into life.
Thank you.
But yeah, I climbed onto the agent's lap, and she said, "Do you want to go to an audition?" And I said, "Yes." And I booked my first role and got fired from it.
What? Wait. Okay. What was that, and why did that happen?
It was a film called Tommy Tricker, and my call time was 4 a.m., and I was 4 years old, and I did not understand. I only have one memory of it, and it's of my mother's jacket covered in my tears, and I couldn't get it together, so they fired me.
Oh.
Yeah.
4 a.m. That's crazy.
For a baby, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was your mom an industry person?
At that point, she had just started becoming an animation producer.
Mm-hmm.
So she was not very familiar, especially not with on camera. That was a different world. Mm-hmm.
So do you remember what your first actual voice gig was as a child?
Yes.
Were you fired from that one?
I wasn't.
Oh, okay, good.
No, I've been fired from one other voice job, maybe 2. But my first voice job was Caillou.
Oh, of
Yes.
course.
When I was 7 years old, I booked the role of Caillou in Caillou.
And how long were you Caillou?
I was Caillou for the first season, which was 65 episodes, and then I got replaced because I lived in Ottawa and had done the trip to Montreal on our own dime, but then our family moved to Toronto, so they didn't want to pay for that travel, and it was too much for my mom, so they found another girl.
How old were you when you were doing that?
I was 7 years old.
7.
Wow.
So how did your mom explain to a 7-year-old that this was changing?
all she ever said to me was they won't pay for your travel, and that was enough.
You understood?
Yeah, I did. And there were way more auditions in Toronto than in Ottawa, so I was excited because it seemed like something new would happen soon.
65 episodes is a lot of episodes.
It is a lot of
It is.
episodes.
More than one at a time often?
We do 5 at a time.
5.
Yeah.
Because they're
short.
They're short, right, right. Probably like you. You were probably short
I
at the
was
time
tiny
too.
and that hasn't changed.
So how do they get a performance out of a 6 or 7-year-old who wasn't who you didn't go to theater school clearly because you were only 7.
Yeah.
So how does that happen?
I think that's kind of the magic of a child actor is that it's just your imagination, and you don't have any of that self-doubt in the way, and you also don't have the barrier that some adults face where you have to trick yourself into imagining. It just happens intuitively. And it's the transition from child actor to adult actor that's actually quite difficult, because then you realize, oh, it's a craft and there's something to this and it's not just innate.
How did you find that, going from child actor to adult actor, grown-up actor? Did you find that or did
I
you
found it
witness
extremely difficult. Yeah. Becoming self-conscious, and also when you're 13 and your body's awkward and you're or 12 or 13 and then you're going to on-camera auditions and I realized I was bad, or I thought I was bad because I didn't know how to do it anymore without with freedom and with fun.
Like a bad actor.
Yes, a bad actor, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What brought that back then? How did you discover it? You're a good actor.
Going to class.
Uh-huh.
Rosemary Dunsmore. I took her scene study class.
Wow.
It really changed a lot for me.
She's awesome.
She's a goddess. Yes.
Yeah. And she's so kind.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's an artist, just through and through.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how long did you study with Rosemary?
Almost, I would say probably 3 or 4 months, and then that motivated me to go to theater school in New York and learn more and become more confident.
Where'd you go in New York?
I went to the HB studio, which is in the West Village.
Yeah.
Uta Hagen's school. Yes.
Wow.
That was amazing. That was probably the best year of my life.
So did it bring you back to that playfulness and to that imagination that you had before?
Yeah, totally. Uta Hagen is all about object exercises, and so you spend an inordinate amount of time acting in your home and making your home a creative space. And they talk about selecting elements of your life that are sort of heightened and then heightening them further on stage. So it really did make all of life kind of infused with this creativity to study that method and to return to a place that was so centered on craft and to realize that it is a craft also. That was part of theater school, is understanding. For some people, they never train it, and it is just innate for them. But for me, training really did, like you said, opened up this imaginary world again.
Do you remember any of the exercises you did at home that might have, somebody who was watching you thought you might be a little bit cuckoo?
My roommates thought I was crazy. Yeah, for sure they did.
What would you remember?
I remember my roommate saying, "You've been crying all day. Are you okay?" Yeah.
And you were okay.
I was great. Yeah.
You were acting.
Yeah.
That's smart, because one of the things when you have to do a show, 8 shows a week, and you have to cry and be emotional for 2.5 hours, sometimes it can suck out your soul if you don't know how to separate it from the reality and from the play.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think I've ever had a role that demanding. I think only on guest stars on some, like Saving Hope, for example, where you're staying in a place for a number of days that's quite dark. But I really admire people that can do that. Cartoons are so fun and silly, and you don't often have to do that.
You've done a few cartoons in your day. Do you know how many you've done, do you think?
I think I have done over 50.
50 different
I thought it was
characters?
60 something.
Maybe
50 different characters?
50 different characters.
I did look it up.
Wow. So, okay, now let's talk about getting into those characters.
Yes, okay.
Because, they're different, and that you have to recall what you did last time, and sometimes you're in a show where you're playing multiple characters.
Yes.
How do you find your character on? Is there a word? Is there a technique? How does that work? Well, for example, like you played Harriet in Franklin.
Yes.
Could you give us Harriet from Franklin? Like, what would bring you there? Would you have to listen to it? Her laugh. Okay, what was her laugh?
You're silly, Franklin.
That was Harriet.
Wow. See, you just went there.
Yeah, that was my line. For a lot of them, you have a line to get in.
Right.
That was my line to get into Harriet. Yeah.
So, just for the record, according to IMDb, 65 credits, 65 different titles.
Right. Maybe 50 of those are cartoons. Maybe a few more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you played Anne Shirley in Anne of Green Gables.
I did, yes.
Did you have to do a special voice for her?
That one was a bit weird because they pitched my voice down to make me sound older. That was also, I think I was 11 years old when I did that, so I think that was just my voice at the
Pitched
time.
down.
Pitched
so
down.
So you sounded like
so
this.
So I sounded older.
Okay. Caillou, do you remember Caillou? Because you were young. You were 7.
The voices that, like
I know,
children,
7,
their
right.
vocal cords are so much shorter, like...
Yeah,
Right.
I can't do that voice
Okay, what
anymore.
about Susie in Camp Lake Bottom?
Bud Squat, did you mess up my hair again?
That's her.
Mavis Dracula in Hotel Transylvania, the series.
Dad, you said that when I turned 118, I could go into the world just like everyone else.
She's like a Selena Gomez impression. That's her.
Crazy.
You can't see this when you're listening to the podcast, but Bryn's head is like, it just there's this very particular and precise little tilt to it, which is so Valley Girl.
Which is so appropriate for that character. Okay, Shirley Squirrely in Top Wing, I guess the big award-winning character.
She's
Wish I could fly way up high instead of just gliding down.
Wow. And I actually happen to know what that character looks like.
Yeah.
And you sound like that character looks.
Yeah.
But you don't look in person like that character looks.
Yeah, she's fun. Well, since I've gotten older and realized I found characters by watching animals. So Shirley is a squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like got this really frenetic energy.
And that's from watching squirrel videos.
And you do another character on that as well.
Yes, I play Bee, who is a cockatoo, and she's a mechanic.
Of course she is.
yeah.
So how do you get her voice?
She'd be like, "Sure thing, Speedy," because she's a mechanic and she's a little bit serious, but she's also fun.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Amazing.
She's got duct tape if you need it.
She's got it all.
Yeah,
all the tools.
She does
can
have
fix
duct tape.
whatever.
Yes.
So your mom is in the industry.
She is, yes.
And tell us what exactly she does.
My mother voice directs cartoons, but that's newish for her. She has been producing cartoons for over 20 years, maybe 25 years. Mm-hmm.
And have you worked for her?
I have worked for her.
What's that like?
Top Wing, the series that we've just recently finished together, was the first time we had worked together again in maybe 10 years, because she also produced Anne of Green Gables when I was 11. And in the first 2 days, I was like, ooh, I have ego working with my mom. Like, my ego keeps coming up, and I don't want to do what she tells me to do.
Because she's your mom.
Because she's my mom.
Of course.
Yeah.
Even though it might be the right thing to do.
Oh, it's totally the right. She's my voice director. I
Yeah.
can't be like, no, I'm not doing that.
Because you're my mom, I'm not going to do that.
So how do you leave your ego at the door?
Well, also, it was seeing her working with other actors and seeing other actors have so much respect for her, and other actors telling me all the time that they love her and that they feel that she really listens to actors and understands them and understands storytelling. And it made my respect for her in that, not that I don't respect my mother, but it made that my respect for her really grow. And I realized from, like, I kind of removed my own filter and could see that, yes, she's very talented.
Right.
Your work respect for her.
My work respect for
Yeah.
her, yes.
That's
Wow.
And you don't live with your mom anymore.
I do not live with my mom. No.
Where are you at?
I currently live in Kitchener.
And you are doing...
I'm doing my Master's of Global Governance.
Which is very connected to animated voices.
Yeah, in every way.
Okay, so this is a postgraduate program?
Yes. Yeah.
And it was a 2-year program? Is it politics? It's politics? And
It's politics. Yes. I mean, it's global governance. So we look at, the best way I think of describing it is problems that are so big that they require global cooperation to solve. Things like refugees, climate change, international finance. Yeah, this whole idea of the United Nations and the idea of countries working together to solve problems.
Have you been studying the United Nations and the effectiveness of that organization?
Yes, I wouldn't say that's been my focus, but I did my undergrad in political science, so history and politics have been a current through my education.
So do you ever see yourself like, okay, so you're following a really important intellectual pursuit, right?
Thank
While
you.
you're doing cartoons.
Yes.
This is great. I love it. I love it. I love that.
Yin and yang.
Yeah.
But my question is, in terms of that study, do you see yourself going into politics? Do you see yourself going into some kind of administration at some point, or having this double secret life that you have?
I think I feel more and more comfortable with the idea of a double life, and I think I will pursue activism. Yes, and not electoral politics or working for the government.
Interesting.
When you imagine yourself at the United Nations, at the podium, speaking into the mic, what voice are you using?
You know what? They probably need a laugh, so maybe I could be Shirley Squirrely.
I guess when Trump speaks, they get a laugh.
Actually,
I don't
that
think
video is
that
priceless.
they laugh when Trump speaks. No.
I think he did get a laugh.
He did,
I think he did
but
get
it
a
wasn't
laugh.
supposed to
No,
be a
of course
joke.
not. Of course not.
Yeah.
So what fanned the flames of your activism?
Well, this might sound like a suck-up answer.
Go ahead.
But ACTRA really did. When I was 20 years old, I went with the union to Ottawa to lobby. We were protesting the CRTC. The 1999 CRTC decision. That was so devastating. And Sue Milling from ACTRA really embraced me on that trip and was an absolute mentor in every way, taught me so much. And that was sort of the kickoff. I had felt politically motivated since the Iraq War, actually. I know that motivated a lot of people, made a lot of people really angry. But that was one thing that definitely I remember being a teenager and not understanding how that could possibly be happening.
Desert Storm, that one?
No, 2003.
2003.
The invasion, the 2003 invasion. So that definitely woke me up politically, I think. And then ACTRA, the idea of solidarity and the idea of fighting for the existence of Canadian culture and just seeing what this union does by getting people together. And I learned so much from this union.
And you've done stuff for our union as well.
Yes.
You've let's talk about that. What did you bring to the table there, young lady?
Well, I was encouraged by someone named David Gale.
And
another someone named Heather Allen to start the youth committee with Eli Gorey. That was in 2010. And so you and Heather supported us enormously, and you gave us a very long leash and a ton of freedom to imagine what this committee could be. And we also held meetings with ACTRA members to ask them what they wanted it to be. And it sort of became a reality through those contributions.
The initial meetings for YEAA, not the initial meetings, because the initial meetings were you and Eli and me and Heather sometimes, and you guys going, we want to do a TIFF party.
Yes.
That's like the first thing. We want to do a TIFF party. I went, well, let's create some kind of committee first so that they can organize it. But that eventually did happen, and it was pretty off the hook.
It did happen.
Yeah, a number of them were pretty incredible.
We had a 1,500-person TIFF party.
Oh, yeah.
Wild.
Nuts. But you did also get very quickly huge numbers at your committee meetings.
We did.
And they were filling the boardroom at ACTRA with these young people who, some of them didn't even know how a union worked at all.
Not at all, yeah.
And were just there because it was so dynamic. It was offering so much and an involvement for a group of people who played 17 to 27 on camera, for a place to be a part of something and be creative too. I mean, you've done a lot of creative work.
Totally.
Talk about.
Well, I just want to insert
Okay,
something in here because you've been talking about YEAA and stuff like that. But for people who don't know,
of course.
The YEAA is short. YEAA is short for
the Young Emerging Actors Assembly.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry about that. And then for the longest time, people were like,
Yay.
yay,
was the big one.
So
a really active committee. So
Hyperactive
and you got
committee,
involved fairly early on, maybe I can't remember when it started, but you got involved with the Real World Film Festival.
Yeah, I think that was 2011, and that was Bobby Del Rio who ran the festival. Well, he ran a component of the festival, and he said, "Hey, Bryn, we have 20 minutes. We have a 20-minute slot to fill. Do you want to make something and screen it?" And I had 6 weeks or something. So I made a short film. That was the first year. And then the second year, again, he said, okay, we have an hour slot. And again, that was with 6 weeks notice. But we made 6 short films. And
Holy cow.
through
With a
through,
slot,
yeah,
with a slot at a film festival.
Yeah, and that's what started it. And then that became an annual project for YEAA. And it became a commitment from the Real World Film Festival that we'd have that time.
An ongoing commitment. So that's
Yes.
been happening since 2011?
I think 2012 would have been the first year that we had a group submission.
Yeah, and some of them have gone on to Cannes Film
Yes.
Festival.
Holy cow.
played in
Yeah.
different festivals.
Yeah, on the Air Canada en route, and then CBC, and they've gone all over the place.
These are shorts that are produced by young ACTRA members.
Yes.
Sometimes their first film.
Often their first film.
Often their first film.
Yes.
And they would be the director, or they'd be the writer and director, or sometimes they'd be the lead and the director, or sometimes they'd be the producer.
Yeah.
Trying on hats they've never tried on before. Just phenomenal. And how much work are you doing as a voice performer these days?
I've, in a weird twist, have had the best year of my career this past year. I was on 5 series this year.
What?
Which was crazy. Yeah, felt
You're on
so
fire.
lucky. Yeah. It just is odd that it happened in the same year that I was doing my master's. So I've been coming back and forth, Toronto, Kitchener, quite a lot.
You know that go bus then?
Oh, I know that go bus inside out. Know all the drivers.
Oh, but you're in Kitchener, so you can't, like, on the rare occasion where I actually get to do a voice gig,
Yeah.
I'm just tempted because I can to just come in my pajamas. Just
That's
because
a
I can.
funny stereotype.
I know, but you can't do that if you're coming from Kitchener.
You can't.
No,
No,
it's
can't get
just-
away with
But
it.
if you're doing a self-tape at home,
Pajamas all the way.
absolutely
Yeah.
pajamas. Absolutely pajamas.
But if you're doing a self-tape, they're going to see you on...
No,
Oh, you
no,
mean
a
a
voice.
voice,
Yeah,
a voice
Yeah,
self-tape.
I do a
Oh.
lot of those, yeah.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And no one has ever said, David, next time could you not be in your pajamas?
Yeah.
Because I don't have pajamas. So basically what I'm doing, no, don't go
Can you not
there.
be in your birthday suit, please?
Yes. Can you give me a little less naked?
They can hear it all. They
can hear it all.
Yeah.
They're good.
They're really good.
You didn't want to eat your sandwich on Mike.
No,
no
way.
no.
That's a hard no.
No, I mean, you can't even jewelry and stuff, right? You
No.
can't- yeah.
Starchy shirt.
Did
or
a lot of
windbreaker.
looping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a lot of looping and
Squeaky shoes.
It was a huge sin to have coins in your pocket.
Oh, yeah.
And anything that could make sometimes just your boots are really creaky. Can you take your shoes off?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you love looping?
There were times that I loved looping. We did some looping for Adam McGoyan, and it's not usual for the director to be at the looping sessions.
No, not at all.
Although I've done it a couple times with the directors, and the directors have always been so intense. So Adam McGoyan was like, he would listen to us do a take, and we'd be like, there was a couple at a booth in the background who were having a tete-a-tete, and they just the loopers just imbued it with such emotion and such specificity. And when it was done, Adam McGoyan was like, you guys are amazing what you do. And it's never going to be heard. It's going to be in the background. But he just was so blown away by it. And it was a great feeling. It was Chloe. Chloe?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then we also did it for Darren Aronofsky.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, we did it for The Fountain. And he would be reading the paper, like the New York Times, not looking, and he'd go, you can do it better. You can do it better.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no,
I was
someday I'll
looping
get.
this morning.
Oh,
You
yeah?
were?
Yeah, for
On
The
what?
Expanse. There's a group of us who have been doing it for 3 seasons, and now they're starting season 4.
Did you loop your own episode when you were working on it?
You cannot loop. You cannot also loop your own episode or something like that. So that's the one episode that I definitely didn't do. There are other episodes that I couldn't do because I wasn't available, but a bunch of us have learned. They created the creators of the show have created this patois, this dialect and language that is spoken on the asteroid belt called Belter.
Sort of sounds a bit South African, a bit.
There's a whole list of phonetic rules, some of which contraindicate each other, but. Sometimes some people it sounds almost Jamaican, and if you get Jamaican, Chinese, South African, and you mush them all together.
Come on,
I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Most of what I do in Belter is swearing. So
we're a podcast. No, wait.
I don't know. Me going to drink this water. Eh?
Right.
Yeah, it'd be like so. The short.
It'd be like.
Yeah. The vowels get some of the vowels tend to get shortened and flattened, and the end consonants disappear, and then there's a couple of very specific rules about specific consonants. So, and then there's other words that like kopeng, bashanyu, that sort of thing, like where they've made up words, and what I'd said right now in Belter would be bleeped on a Belter.
Luckily,
only
Belters speak Belters.
We're not on an asteroid belt, so nobody needs to
it's
know.
Not like that's not like all the Klingon geeks who know Klingon, perfectly
actually
well.
They
do.
Yeah, but that's a really fun group. So we do that, and then they've got different languages, which is why they've got different. Like Renan, they'll have in the background different languages. Mandarin. I'm their Mandarin girl, and there's other people who will do Hindi and French and Spanish and stuff like that.
Yeah, Karaji's Belter is really good.
Karaji's Belter is very good. Yeah.
Do they teach this to you, or you're expected to?
They gave us. They hired a linguist to come up with it. He gave us a seminar, but now at this point, it's basically people have kind of the actual written document about what Belter's supposed to sound like doesn't really fully apply because some of the phonetic changes they don't work on a regular basis. But they taught us, and then other people have just kind of figured it out.
So it's evolved.
Yeah,
it's evolved.
Like all languages evolve.
Yeah. So that's fun. I like looping, but it's the guys who do all the techno babble that freak me out because they can just be staring at the screen and they're going recalibrating the gravitational. And that's where I blank out. But they just keep going, like recalibrating the gravitational sensors, inputting on phasers 1 and 2.
Very good.
Copy that. It's like they can just go for hours and making it up, and it sounds totally legit.
It's so cool.
And I have to kind of half plan it in my head ahead of time, and then half the time I run out of steam partway through and just hope someone else jumps in on top. It's all going to be in the background anyway.
Yeah, if you can figure out.
I do my best.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's fantastic. Have you ever done looping?
I think only once for Less Than Kind.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and I loved it. It was a party, so we just lots of puking and woo! A lot of that.
And again, for people who don't know the terminology, looping is when you do background voices. Usually a group of actors are hired to create the background
ADR
voices, the additional dialogue recording.
Yeah.
Well, additional ADR also stands for when you go in and you have to fix the voice, but looping is specifically the background,
BG
right?
ADR,
Yeah.
If you want to just use the letters.
Just so you know. Yeah, and ADR, additional dialogue recording, as well as another term for it.
That's for the people who are outside the bubble.
Yes, the people who aren't lucky enough to be in a loop group yet, but talk to your agent because it's the best.
You get on there and it's
really fun.
It's fun, but sometimes there's a lot of pressure. I've had to revoice people, so sometimes it can be challenging, but mostly it's really fun, and it's a good way to get some residuals every once in a while.
That
it's
too.
A residual category,
Wow, we're lucky.
Yeah.
We are lucky.
Again, we're lucky, but we're talented.
And we're talented. Yes.
I wanted to ask you, and it was something I started, but though I forgot with some people, but what is in your actor's kit when you go to set or when you go to recording studio? Like, what is the thing that you feel like you need to make sure you need to take with you, so that, like, for instance, like I usually take, if I'm going to a set where I've never been, I'll take a yoga mat.
Oh.
I had a bad experience once with bed bugs.
No.
Yes.
Oh.
And so now I always take a yoga mat and I put it on top of the trailer thing. But also, like, I could be on set and we're close to trailer, and I'll roll that out and then I could just lie down. Like, it makes a big difference for me. But Other
I
people
thought
have.
you were a yogi or something, that you were actually
No.
going to be doing yoga. No.
It's a front.
My actor's kit list is huge, but I'm just wondering, what do you take her? Or actually, what I'd love to know is, do you have any special like voice remedies when your voice is like?
Oh gosh. I've had laryngitis twice in the last 2 years. Once was from going to Mexico and having way too much fun. And the other time was from being on a dubbing show where we did 52 episodes in 5 weeks.
You explained the dubbing.
Okay, so this was a show that was made in France, and it was done with French voices.
An animated show.
An animated show, yes. And then they wanted a very fast turnaround. They wanted to make the show an English show, and we had 5 weeks. So I was in probably every other day for 4-hour sessions, and I was the lead. And
Her whole voice was up here, and it was just this all day, over and over again.
and it was insane. And I lost my voice. So honestly, my voice is so sensitive that it freaks me out quite often. And I have to take really good care of it. Meaning it's like the boring Lauryn Hill thing where you can't go out, you can't talk to people, you can't drink, you shouldn't have coffee. I wish I had like a zany, amazing solution, but that time I had to take steroids. Like there was nothing to be done. Stressful.
It's your job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I had to do a singing show.
There you go.
So I couldn't speak for an entire day. Now, let me tell you, you don't know how difficult that is.
It's so hard.
It's fine if you're staying at home.
Yeah.
But I made the mistake of, I'd been invited to a party.
No,
and I'm
you
going to the
didn't.
party.
No,
and-
you didn't.
Well, it was important. It was like my birthday or something. It was like something that I couldn't say
June
no
7th.
to. Yeah, June 7th, yes. And we share a birthday. So not a birth year. And so I went to this party and I couldn't speak. And they just were not, they thought I was BSing them. They thought I was like,
course.
oh, no, I can't
So
speak.
for 24 hours before you went to see him, you were not allowed to speak?
No,
Or after?
for 24 hours between the time I had seen him and was going to do the show.
Right.
Like, you cannot speak tomorrow, you can't speak. If you want to sing on Saturday night, Friday and Saturday during the day, you are not speaking.
Wow.
It's so hard.
Good luck.
Wow.
Yeah, and you're a chatty one, so that's especially tricky for you.
Yeah, I do co-host a podcast. You gotta be pretty chatty.
Yeah.
Do you ever do Manuka honey?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I didn't ever heard of Manuka honey, so.
New Zealand fancy honey.
Where
It's
it still
delicious.
has the antibacterial and sort of immune boosting properties. Do you ever do homeovox? Does that work for you?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, get it in the health food store. It's supposed to work for laryngitis or for vocal stuff. I would always, because I'm not a singer, but I had to sing when I was doing Kim's Convenience, the play, and I was and I smoke and I drink coffee and I do all the bad things. So that was one of the things that I don't even know if it worked, but I could sing for every show that I had to sing for. So those are the. I'm just yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to say that the steroids actually
It's by
worked.
do work.
Boiron, Boiron is who makes it. It's called homeovox.
Is it a pill?
It's a little pill. You chew it.
And it did the trick, or
I
it
think
tricked
so.
you.
I don't know. But,
One or the other.
But you let me if you try it, and let me know what you think.
will.
But another actor recommended it to me.
Okay.
So
I'm so
this has
curious to
been
know.
so special and wonderful to have you here
Thank
and
you.
to hear about your career and all your different characters. I want you to say thank you to us as Shirley Squirrely.
Oh, ACTRA, I just can't thank you enough for this. It's been amazing. Can I come back tomorrow?
Fantastic.
Yay.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, guys.
Thank
Thank
you, Bryn
you.
McAuley. You're a joy.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for today. That was quite something.
What a great conversation.
ACTRA Spotlight is produced by Cass Enright and recorded at the ACTRA Toronto's very own Gordon Pinsent studio.
And you can find us online at actratoronto.com.
And you can get the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts.
iTunes.
We said that together.
On purpose.
And keep watching Canadian.